G'day, this is Dan Barrett from the Greater Toronto Area Council. Hospitals are facing a crisis. Hydro is being privatized, student debt is mounting, and inequality is rising. The situation facing so many Ontario families and their communities seems bleak, but public pressure can turn things around. The Ontario government hosted pre-budget consultations in 6 locations across Ontario, and they were greeted by noontime rallies in each city. These events were positive, vibrant, and family-friendly. The rally on the 1st of February was attended by OFL locals and our coalition partners. PSAC's presence was small but vocal. We heard speeches on various issues and examples that affect everyone. Here is a sample of some of those that addressed the crowds outside of the provincial legislature.
We should have such better health care. And 9 years of austerity has gutted our healthcare systems. Look at the recent attacks on our educators across the province, the struggles we had to bargain collective agreements. Look at the recent attacks on those working in the correctional industry and the correctional facilities, nearly forced to the picket lines because the government wouldn't bargain fairly. These deep cuts to our social programs. The list goes on and on. All the more reason. I think everyone here today will agree with me. We need to send a strong message to the folks behind us. Austerity has to stop. Now, this isn't rocket science, folks, and I'm no economist, but I do know that good paying jobs create strong economies, strong communities, and a strong Ontario. We need to get back to our grassroots and create good paying jobs.
In Lindsay, in 2012, cataract volumes were cut by 25%, but chronic underfunding was meant that yet again, the Ross Memorial Hospital will see a further 25% cut to operating room time for cataracts. This in spite of growing numbers of patients needing surgery. Shame.
Announced cut to 35 full-time and 7 part-time positions. Departmental hospital cuts include operating rooms, intensive care unit, oncology, surgery, hemodialysis, infection control, patient care coordination.
London, Ontario. Since 2012, 475,000 hours a year of hands-on nursing care has been cut. They've cut departments including vascular cardiology, mental health, intensive care, dialysis, fertility clinics, inpatient oncology, urgent care, IV therapy, and stroke rehabilitation. Shame!
Shame! Everybody to come down. Daryl?
Sorry. Woodstock General Hospital. Hip replacement surgery cancelled in 2015. Plan to cut 23 complex continuing care beds. Shame, shame.
And there are many, many more, and just on the broader community side.
It's 2016. Women earn 31.5% less than men. Close the gender gap. Close the wage gap. Shame.
Shame!
This year, 194,000 hours of hands-on patients care are being cut, out of which 111,000 hours of care per year already cut in 2013. Dangerous occupancy levels put patients at risk. Hospital running at the rate of 108%. Operating room hours cut at University and Victoria Hospital. Money has run out for a whole range of surgeries this year, and all remaining surgeries in those categories cancelled till after April. Shame.
Well, thank you very much. I think you've got a taste of what's happening across this province, and as people said, it's absolutely shameful, and we have to make sure that we call this government to account. It cannot go on. So I want now to introduce our next speaker, who is Pam Frake, the provincial coordinator of the 15 in Fairness campaign. Pam?
Sisters and brothers, I'm so honored to be here today because this really is, in my view, the fight of our lives. There's been two important themes that the speakers have addressed, and that is the critical fight against austerity, and combined with that, the critical fight to put universality back on the political agenda so that we have minimum standards for all. And whether we're talking about healthcare or whether we're talking about the workplace, the time is now to group our struggles and fight on every front to address this critical issue. For example, the Fight for 15 and Fairness understands that fairness isn't just about what happens at the workplace. It's also what happens in our healthcare system. It's also about what happens to our children in schools and to our access to child care and so forth. Fairness is also about ensuring that we have sustainable jobs so that we can actually have an environmentally sound future. And on that note, I want to ask you, how many of you here enjoy the full right to paid sick days in your workplace?
Yes.
Because accessing healthcare is not just about getting the services we need, but it's about also getting access from our workplaces so that we can tend to the health of our children and our parents and ourselves.
We get one day.
I want to also talk about what makes the healthcare systems go round and to make sure that we're also talking, in addition to the nurses and the frontline healthcare workers, that we're also talking about the cleaning staff and the food service workers that make our hospitals function. And in this context, sisters and brothers, the fight against austerity really is about the fight against fragmentation, the fight for unity, and the fight for solidarity. We really have an opportunity in the year ahead to turn back the tide on the cuts that are coming down on our healthcare system, but also to raise the floor for workplaces across Ontario, including hospitals, including colleges and universities, including our fast food outlets and so forth. Sisters and brothers, this really is the year that we can make a difference, and I applaud the Ontario Health Coalition and the Ontario Federation of Labour for forging these labour community alliances, because together we can unite the 99% against the 1%, and we can demand and effect the changes we want. Thank you so much, sisters and brothers. We can do it. We can demand the Ontario we want, and we can demand 15 and fairness for all. Thank you, brothers and sisters.
I want to let you know that there will be volunteers going through the crowd giving out postcards which we would like you to sign on to, and there will be messages there hopefully to be presented to the standing committee. So I'd next like to introduce Carol Baker, who is the community co-chair of the Ontario Common Front. Carol.
Greetings, friends. Greetings from the Ontario Common Front. It may be a warm day, but that does not change the fact that Ontarians have been left out in the cold for too long. 3 years ago, the Ontario Common Front released its report, Falling Behind, containing shocking findings of income inequality and declining social programs, many of which have been discussed today. This past November, in our follow-up report, Backslide, we revealed that the Wynne government's record on public services continues to be the worst in Canada. Inequities in access to health care and every social program is the most extreme in Ontario and getting worse. Friends, we simply cannot continue to accept a declining share of the wealth in this province. There continues to be an alarming number of unemployed and low-wage workers, vast increases in part-time work and underemployment. Ontario is still an extremely wealthy province, and it is apparent here in Toronto that those who are riding high continue to soar, while our incomes stagnate, while poverty continues to increase, and our access to health care and social services continues to be dismal. Nice words and window dressings will not correct the giant steps we have taken back for years in Ontario. The public face may have changed at times. The words may seem kinder, but a change in tone is not enough. We need more. Backslide digs deeper into austerity, labor force restructuring, and the widening inequality in Ontario. We need to dig deep as well and not accept a society where only a few have access to opportunities. We must provide unwavering support to one another and stand together. The stakes keep getting higher and higher. Privatization schemes threaten our healthcare, infrastructure, and hydro system. The fact that the provincial government continues down this road tells us that we must come together and collectively demand that these privatization schemes stop. Friends, we must take control of our future, dig deep, and demand the Ontario we want. The Ontario we want. Let me hear you. The Ontario we want. The Ontario we want. Thank you, friends.